Hi, welcome to Film Recap. Today we'll be covering the 2023 new TV show titled Gen from episode 1 to 3. So sit back and enjoy. Episode 1 of Gen V begins with young Marie Morrow playing with her sister while her parents watch the A Train on the news. Marie has a sudden pain in her abdomen and goes to the washroom. Her mother follows to make sure she's all right, but Marie shuts the door. Not knowing what a period is, she is disgusted by the sight of blood. Moments later, she freaks out seeing the blood levitating and drops the furniture. Her mother pushes down the door and sees the blood levitating. The blood jets toward her and makes a cut on the side of her neck, causing her to bleed out and fall to the floor. Hearing the commotion, her dad also rushes in. Looking at the blood, Marie screams, causing a huge blood explosion and killing her father as well. Her sister arrives to see both her parents sprawled on the floor, covered in blood. The scene switches to the present day where Marie wakes up in her shelter, ready to check the updates on her admission to Godalkin University. She goes about with her routine, eagerly waiting for 4 p.m. She also goes through her superpower practice, demonstrating her mastery of controlling blood. She sees a girl with superpowers being forcefully taken away by the authorities. 4 p.m. finally arrives and she logs in to discover she's made it into Godalkin University. She has a word with Vanessa regarding the admission and she reluctantly lets her go. A commercial rolls in virtue signaling and singing the praise of Godalkin University, claiming to make the superheroes of tomorrow. Marie begins her first day at the university witnessing multiple Supes on the campus. Meanwhile, Emma Meyer is in her room, shrunk down to miniature size and shoots a video for a YouTube channel. Just then, Marie enters the room and is surprised to see a miniature person. Emma goes away to get back to normal size and returns to properly greet Marie. She brings Marie up to speed with her pet, YouTube channel, and the rest of the room. Emma takes Marie to the Godalkin Stadium to see the top rankers compete. She shows Marie the golden boy and expresses her lust. Luke Riordan tells his girlfriend Kate Dunlap about the nightmares and they begin making out on the track until Luke's first opponent shows up. The fight begins and Luke beats his opponent up relentlessly. Marie expresses she wants to be down in the arena someday, but hesitates when she sees Luke rip his opponent's arms away from his body. After the match, Marie checks her schedule through Emma's phone and realizes something isn't right. She goes to meet the professor, but instead meets Jordan, who tells her she hasn't been selected for Intro to Crime Fighting. The two begin to argue before the professor walks in. Mare tries convincing him, but he rejects her request as well, telling her to stick to performing arts. She leaves disheartened and suddenly sees a student running with multiple police chasing after him. She is told he is a meth addict and uses her superpower to trip the guy. She hears the boy screaming that he is not going back to the woods before the police catch him and arrest him. The next day, she tells Emma about the incident, but all Emma can think of is the social media attention she could have milked out of it. She also encourages Marie to make friends, but later Marie withdraws from the conversation after realizing she cannot fit in. Marie and Emma discuss their intentions of being in Godalkin and realize how different their goals are. Luke meets up with Brink and they have a conversation recalling the first time they met. Brink shows Luke his new superhero suit made from hafnium carbide alloy to prevent it from burning away. He is offered to take Maeve's old apartment or Starlight's. Luke is offered to enter the 7. Suddenly, Luke hears a voice calling his name. Later that day, Andrew Anderson approaches Marie and claims to recognize her from the incident that happened the previous night. He invites her out with his friends, including Luke, but she rejects the offer. He tells her to show up at the crime fighting building if she decides to change her mind. Later that night, Emma tries to change her mind and convinces Marie to go. Marie borrows some clothes from Emma and heads out to the outing. Luke, Kate, Jordan, and Andra head out for the party. Emma rests at home checking her YouTube comments and gets a message from Liam asking her to hang out. Jordan and the others hang out on the terrace of a building while Marie gazes far in the distance. Luke hops over to have a conversation with her, and they get to know more about each other. He asks her about how she found out about her powers and she admits to lying. She then goes on to tell him about her parents and he also tells her about his brother. He uncovers the dark side of being a hero. Emma has Liam over and they get ready to make love. He asks her to get time to satisfy a kink and she reluctantly agrees. She heads over to the bathroom to get ready and puke everything out and shrink. Marie and her friends enter the club by using Kate's powers to trick the bouncer. Meanwhile, Emma and Liam try some kinky things and Liam's insecurities only manifest themselves. Luke, Andrew, and Jordan are speaking about the ranking system and Brink, trying to map out the next few days. Meanwhile, Kate and Marie dance on the floor. Luke heads out and suddenly sees visions of his brother stuck in the woods begging him to help him. Andrew heads over to talk to a girl and impress her. He tosses a coin and transforms it into a bird. On request, he uses telekinesis to take the bird towards an old man's glass and drop it there. Unfortunately, during this he gets nudged by someone, and this leads to the bird poking into a woman's vein, causing her to bleed profusely. The club erupts in panic with blood spraying everywhere. Luke and the others flee the scene, but Marie stays behind. She has flashbacks of her mother's death, but uses her superpower to control blood and make the bleeding stop. Everyone in the club records her and appreciates her efforts. The next morning, Maverick comes over to send her over to Brink's office. On arrival, her act is appreciated, but is also unfairly blamed for slitting the throat of the woman. She also gets to know that she has been expelled, but Golden Boy, Andrew, and the others won't be affected by it as they are being protected by the university. She disappointedly walks away with all of her dreams shattered. Leaving the building, she runs into Emma and blames her for sending her out that night. Luke hears the voice calling out to him once again. Opening the doors, he finds him inside the woods with his brother Sam approaching him and begging for his help. Mary takes a moment as she stops behind a building to process everything that is happening while she tries to collect herself. She decides to go back to Brink's office and have a word with him once again. She sees Jordan and throws a temper tantrum and proceeds to make her way to Brink's office. Reaching there, she sees Luke on fire hugging Brink to death. Marie is taken aback by the scene but agrees to keep it a secret. Luke doesn't trust her and begins chasing after her. Marie once again comes across Jordan, who tries to defend her and keep Luke from destroying his image. Luke thinks Jordan is in on Brink's plan too, and a fight erupts between them. Luke knocks down Jordan and chases Marie outside into the campus where many students can see him. Just then, Andrew intervenes and tries to calm Luke down, and the two hug it out. Luke feels overwhelmed by everything that is happening and takes off to the sky. He then hovers in the sky and explodes, causing blood and human flesh to cover the entire area. Episode 2 of Gen V opens with Luke's friends gathering at the site as they mourn his death. Meanwhile, Ashley and the other PR reps fabricate a story to sell to the public, displaying Andrew and Marie as the saviors of the day. They also decide the new rankings, placing Andrew first. She also questions Indira about the woods but receives an indefinite answer. Indira boasts about her success, but Ashley reminds her that this right here is a failure. Upon returning home, Emma greets Marie and tries to make her comfortable, but only ends up overwhelming her. Mary pledges to keep her head in the game and heads off to sleep. The next day, Marie heads out to attend lectures but is constantly bombarded with attention from students. She finds out from a student that she has made it to the top 10, being a freshman. Andrew notices he is number 1 and Jordan is number 5. The next day, Jordan goes to pay her respects to Brink. Kate approaches her to offer sympathy. The same evening, Marie draws a lot of attention in the cafeteria and gets introduced to God-U's social media director, Jeff. He brings her up to speed with most of the happenings and privileges she has gained. She is astonished to know that the word going around is that she fought and defeated Luke, but she gets appreciated for her modesty. He drags Marie along for an interview and introduces her to Courtney. At the interview, Andrew asks his dad if Luke gave him anything, but his dad misinterprets and encourages Andrew to push ahead of the pain because Luke gave him an opportunity. Courtney tells Marie to stick to the script and hands her an outfit. Andrew and Marie go for a photo shoot and proceed with the interview. On the way out, he asks her if Luke told her anything about his dad, and Marie reveals he said the woods. Andrew reveals that Luke mentioned that his dad had it before dying. He asks for her help as the suicide doesn't make sense. She claims that she only knew them for a night and declines the offer, claiming that she almost got expelled for the incident at the club. She also points out that she didn't have any backing like the others did. Later that day, she heads in for her acting lecture and gets placed in the spotlight for her actions. The lecturer ends the lecture by giving the students an assignment to submit a film with a partner. Post-lecture, Emma asks Liam if they are still a thing, but he introduces her to a new girl. Justine intervenes, guessing he made Emma shrink to make his prick look big. Humiliated, Liam leaves. Justine introduces herself and the two team up to do the assignment. Later that day, Jordan confronts Marie for taking credit for fighting Luke and yells at her. Marie reminds Jordan that she rejected her application. Marie also tells her that it is not in her hands and that she is only playing along with the script. She also tells her about almost getting expelled. Jordan switches genders and admits his fault, but he requests that Marie put his name out there during the interview. She reluctantly agrees. Andrew approaches Kate to talk about it, and they discuss that Luke won't stop until he figures it out. Later, Justine and Emma look for scenes to recreate for the project. Justine assures her that she isn't typecasting her and looks for other scenes. Emma is happy because she doesn't like getting small, as she has to purge herself into becoming small. Later that day, Indira calls Marie over for a discussion. She claims to want to help Marie and gives her a long speech to make her open up. Eventually, Marie does and tells her about her sister, who had gotten adopted, but unfortunately, she doesn't know where from. She also explains that she could probably find her if she was able to earn a good amount of money. Following that, Indira heads into the chambers where Sam is held down. She tells him that attempting to escape only makes it harder for him. Dr. Edison places a long needle on Sam's back and hammers it in. Andrew and Kate arrive at Luke's room and find that all his stuff has been cleared out and the room has been bleached. Later that day, Emma gets teased by a few students on campus and sees students watching a video of Justine exposing her secret. She storms into Justine's room where Justine is shooting a video of another girl licking and sucking her own tail. Andrew recalls Luke saying Andrew's dad has it and goes over to his dad's statue to check. He uses the open crotch on his father's statue and pulls out a phone. The two proceed to watch a recording of Luke where he explains that his brother Sam isn't dead and that he is under the school and a hospital they call the Woods. Andrew and Kate recall that Sam had schizophrenia and died in a facility. The two begin to catch on to the story after initially wondering if Luke also had schizophrenia. Just then, Andrew realizes the time and remembers he has to attend the interview. Kate encourages him to go, telling him they can solve the case the next morning. Marie reads through her scripts and realizes they negate the possibility of anyone else being there from the start. She begins to practice her own script, intending to tell the truth about Jordan's contributions. Meanwhile, Andrew makes his way to the interview venue but walks past Luke's memorial and decides to head into Brink's office to look for clues. He comes across a laptop and uses his powers to access the files. He finds a folder named Woods and a file by the name of Sam, Luke's brother. Andrew realizes is the same child he had seen running away the previous night. He also clicks a picture, but just then, the SWAT bursts through the door. He manages to hide just in time, but his dad keeps calling him as the interview is about to start without him. Just as the interview is about to start, Haley, the interviewer, mentions that she won't ask her anything about her sister. She also reveals that they have her email, but Annabeth would not like to maintain any relationship with her. Hearing that, Marie changes her mind. She goes on to take full credit for stopping Luke and does not keep her promise to Jordan. Later that day, after reaching home, she sees the messages from Emma but decides to ignore them. She holds her family picture and begins to cry. Emma purges herself to shrink while Marie slits her palm open. Marie revisits Indira and asks her if she knows about her sister. Indira gives her a hug, making Marie burst into tears. Meanwhile, Andrew follows the guards into a strange stairway. He sees a cleaner accidentally stumble in and have his throat slit by the guards. Right as he is about to move, a guard pops up from behind and spots him. Andrew uses his abilities to throw his gun away, but the guard uses a sound device to bring Andrew down to the floor. Just then, another guard comes and tells him to turn off the device and begins talking vulgar things to him. Just then, Kate enters and pouches his neck, urging him to do it, and one guard sucks the torch of the other guard. This lets Andrew stand back up, but Kate feels dizzy and faints. Episode 3 of Gen V begins with Luke and Kate entering Sam's cell as he pounds away at the wall. Luke tries to calm him down and they go for a hug. Just then, the guard shoots Sam in the abdomen, causing him to go berserk. Kate then steps in and uses her push power to make him sleep. Kate abruptly wakes up, indicating this was all a dream. Kate finds herself waking up with Andrew beside her. They discuss it, and Kate is strictly against Andrew going in to save Sam. Kate expresses her concerns, and they realize they have feelings for each other. The same night, Marie hears Emma's voice and realizes Emma has shrunk to a very tiny size. They get her food to eat and have her back to normal size. Marie tries to convince Emma that purging herself is unhealthy, but Emma explains that's just how her superpower works. It's just like how Marie has to cut herself to gain access to blood. The two end up fighting and stop talking to each other. The next day, Marie sits down to have a conversation with Indira over pancakes. Indira empathizes with Marie for what happened at the interview and invites her over for a fundraiser party, and Marie agrees. Later, the media training students learn from clips of Marie, but Polarity only looks down on her and instead encourages Andrew to take the spotlight. He tells Andrew to join him for the fundraiser. He asks his dad if it's a good thing to use his powers for the good of others, but his father leaves for his speech. The next day, Justine apologizes for letting out Emma's secret, but Emma realizes she is filming. As she walks away, she sees her mother walking towards her. They settle down, and Emma feels overburdened by her mom's policing. Her mom informs her that she has seen the video on YouTube and requests that she come with her to the fundraiser event. The same day, Marie walks up to Kate and apologizes for the situation, but gets confronted about the things she has been saying about him on camera. Marie walks away. There is a flashback of Kate trying to calm Luke down after one of his episodes. The scene changes to Jordan sleeping with a student from the university when her parents arrive. She chases away the guy who disappears through the wall, and she transitions back into a boy to greet them. The same night, the students get ready for the fundraiser. Marie and Indira make conversation with the people at the event. Indira warns her to keep her guard up in the fight for number 1. Emma's mother introduces her to Courtney, who offers her a role in her next reality TV show. However, she realizes the role is only about sympathy-seeking and not inspirational at all. Jordan tries to convince the guests but isn't able to. His parents step in to help him out. Overwhelmed, Emma heads to the washroom and is unexpectedly joined by Marie. The two are not supposed to speak, but she compliments Marie's dress. Marie asks her how to pee in a dress like that, and Emma helps her out. Marie apologizes for before, and the two hug it out. Returning, Emma tries to ask them if it could be made inspirational but walks out on them when her mother turns her down. Andrew catches her as she walks away and sits down with her to speak. Jordan quarrels with her parents as they aren't satisfied with the person she has become. Andrew tells Emma about the plan to sneak into the building and reach Sam, and she instantly agrees. Andrew takes her to the bunker as she is shrunken already and hands her a GPS tag. After instructions, she slips under the door and into the asylum. Emma slips into Sam's food tray and enters his room. Sam spots her instantly and traps her under a cup, questioning if she is real or just his imagination. The fundraiser continues with Marie on the banner. A short clip plays to honor Brink. Andrew begins to get worried about where Emma is. His dad confronts him, asking him why he isn't focused, and Andrew explains about the underground hospital. Polarity is astonished to know Andrew knows about it and forces him to keep quiet. Just then, a friend calls Polarity to the side and he goes. Sam thinks Emma is a manifestation and demands she convince him she is real. He asks her a bunch of questions about himself, of which she gets a few wrong answers, but she tries to convince him that she is real and is there to help him escape. He is not convinced and insists on staying back, but she tells him that it was his brother's plan to set him free. He agrees and offers to give her the codes to the doors. During the conversation, Marie realizes that Indra only needs her for PR and leaves the scene shortly after. Jordan initially taunts her for several reasons, along with being her parents' favorite. Marie tells them that she didn't know she had powers until her first period and ended up killing her parents as she didn't know how to control them. Jordan and Kate invite her over to sit, and Kate tells her about how she grabbed her brother's arm one day and told him to go away and never come back. Kate then tells Marie that a search party was also sent, but he was never found. She tells her that her mom and dad never touched her after that day. She comforts Marie, telling her that it isn't her fault. Sam and Emma have a heartfelt conversation and appear to be enjoying their few moments together. Emma tells him that she will leave as the woman arrives to collect the food trays, and that she hopes to see him whenever they break him out. He appreciates her efforts and calls her beautiful. Andrew tells the others about Emma. Suddenly, the alarms start ringing and Sam puts Emma on a safe shelf to hide. He instructs her to run as soon as the electricity stops before dropping to the ground. She watches a guard storm in and electrocutes Sam once again after he wakes up. She jumps onto the guard and enters his ear, causing him to bleed and fall to the ground before exiting the other side. Just then, 2 more guards enter the cell. If you enjoy content like this, why don't you like and subscribe for more, and we will see you in the next episode recap.